Hey fellas, I'm working on getting stuff finished up, pushing all this stuff back, but for the meantime, I'll get you this Pokemon vlog on several subject matter that have been fairly recent. So let's start with the Chapter 5 of the Twilight Wings OVA series, Assistance, centered on Oleana, which was going to debut last month, but got pushed back to earlier this one, largely due to the COVID-19 pandemic and it came back to production, and I'm not sure how far along they were in production before they made a decision, but regardless, I'd say the final result was worth the wait. I mean, I really like how it fleshed out her character, that she managed to work her way up from just being like a simple whole IT tech trying to figure out what the Dynamax phenomenon on maybe him helping pioneer the Ultra Catch to becoming, the assistant to the entire company that Rose is in charge of, second only to him in terms of importance. And in addition to the little touches like the cameos from Piers and Kabu, and even just a little dancing Mr. Rhyme, the street performer, further highlights how she's really my favorite admins. I mean, there's really much more to a character, especially in this one, than simply a hero's villain, fight villain, as the older ones often were. I mean, which there's nothing highly wrong with that, as I'm going to be addressing some other points in this video, but I definitely had to say that I'm really glad I finally got a chance to see it. I mean, and definitely looking forward to the next one with Alistair as well, to say the least. Yeah. On that note, out the 23rd episode of the Japanese dub finally aired. Here, since the broadcast is resuming, emerged from its hiatus I mentioned before, which is also due to the pandemic. Entitled, roughly translated in Japanese, A Massive Panic in Cerise Laboratory. I mean, so it seems that this time around, a lot of the food disappearing from the lab have affecting the people and Pokemon that reside there, so Ash and Go have to not only resolve this mystery, quell the conflicts that's caused between the Pokemon, but also make sure that Go's trio of Cascoon are disturbed when they evolve into Dustox, man. So that's at least 3 major plot lines in this episode alone. Yet I actually really like what they did here with it. I mean, that's one of the things I liked most about this series, is how it managed to just add more to the world itself, and it's also why I'm eager to see more of the events unfold, especially some of the other information that's been revealed. And even though not sure what to expect from next week's episode, I actually kind of like that idea. I actually had going in having a completely blank mindset, which allows you to approach from a fresh perspective, rather than having some predetermined in mind. So simply saying no conventional story structure, sure, I mean, why bother other watching, am I right? And again, I mentioned this before, but I feel this mindset is counterintuitive to have when actually I like the idea, of expanding it. Instead of trying to exclude certain elements or characters, including as much as you can, while getting the spirit of it down, is what's very interesting to me. And again, and I'm not sure how far along they were in production when they made the decision, and I guess we'll find out more about Morpeko another time, because instead, a different Pokemon was causing the uproar with how Mistress was behaving. And so I'm also slowly introducing myself of the dub via Netflix. I mean, next when it goes live this week, hopefully I'll be able to start my stuff back up again without too much trouble. So it turns out it was a Squovit. That's that. Alright, so we're gonna get things back in production and back on track. I mean, since animation so far seems to be the least affected medium, and that's been, but it's not been like it's totally without hang-ups. I mean, in particular, I'll be addressing this when I talk about the more the Armor preview. But even though they are not as used to this as to be fair, people here, they're still trying to adjust to the work from home mentality. While it may be difficult, it's by no means impossible. If you don't have the infrastructure, then you make one. If there's a challenge over path, overcome it. That's one of the things I'm taking away from this, but I get ahead of myself. Yeah. Another pleasant surprise that has happened fairly recently is the Pokétoon, which is centered around Mimikyu and Scraggy, or Zarugu as he's known in Japanese. It's done in the style of an older cartoon from the golden age of animation sorts. I mean, where it's in the 1940s. I actually kind of like how they're using like the modern production techniques to recreate the older style. I mean, there's energy there. I mean, another proof they can. That's one of the things I actually liked about the earlier stories, like how you could make a cohesive story without a single line of dialogue, apart from Pokemon and their antics. I mean, so and the answers they chose specifically did fit pretty well. I mean, I actually really like it. It reminds me a lot of stuff like this Cuphead and plus some of the tactic, where it used all the elements that were great about that time period without ones that aren't as, say, kosher or nowadays. I mean, and between that game, the Looney Tunes cartoons, HBO Max, I mean, and playing others. I mean, I think if they want to try and bring back more of the older styles, then that's totally fine with me. Hey, and put a new spin on them. I definitely got like an early Disney Fleischer Brothers vibe from watching this. I mean, lots of energy, and already playing mimetic images. I mean, the thumbnail I chose from this video is probably one of a few ones I could get that's still relatively COPPA compliant. But I'm still gonna try and keep things relatively open best I can, which I still have things to finish before Friday, which incidentally will also be the time I will be done with class. Maybe even further. Yeah. So, now comes further addressing the Isle of Armor. Her reveal, as of its release date, which will be in 10 days. There's a lot to unpack there. I'm even not going to go over every single little detail. I will be addressing the major ones, which does indeed confirm that more of the 200 monsters will be returning in both this and the Crown Tundra chapter, which one way I found some of this out is also like in the Pokemon Home app, both on mobile and the Switch, which also tends to reveal which of these monsters are already in the game's code. Obviously we got more of a Galarian and Slowbro revealed. Obviously, it also basically implies there's a Galarian Slowking as well. But I wonder what typing that's going to be, since apparently Gunhalo Shelter bites the arm rather than the tail or the head, as it usually does, and the allergic reaction it has partially a poison type, which actually is a pretty nice little way of integrating the of shellfish allergy. But still, I kind of like how on the arm resembles someone like of Samus Aran's gun arm or the base Mega Man's Buster Shot. I mean, so as for that we get to see more of the Out armor itself, as well as the Crown Tundra's being set up. I mean, while it's always going to be more details revealed about the Crown Tundra for releases there, and I don't know why games keep calling it the Frost Tundra, even though the Crown Tundra was already in the footage. I mean, the description had it correct, maybe it was just like he misspoke. And I really like taking the Cramomatic Haddock Crockpot. I mean, I also hope that Cram among at least my favorite monsters of this generation so far, given how it's already revealing more details about Kubfu, as well as how it's you're trained to from Urshifu. I decide which trials are going to undertake on Sword and Shield, respectively. So it's live, but they're basically going to be bringing back in some capacity every single legendary in the future with some of the raids. Mewtwo was already in it. We could only battle him, couldn't catch him just yet, but we probably will be able to this time. And this in mind, they're bringing back Lugia, Ho-Oh, Groudon, Kyogre, Dialga, and Palkia. Insert some unconfirmed reference slash meme here, Reshiram, Zekrom. I don't know why he blanked on that, given how they just had events in Pokemon Go as well. Brought them back too. And again, I guess now it's time to start the Unova confirmed train. And if you are so inclined. And Xerneas, Yveltal. I'm still working on how to pronounce those. Think of my head. Solgaleo and Lunala, which to be fair, already revealed to be in the game's code thanks to some of these transfers. And many more to be unveiled. And I must say, I really like the training outfits and out of armor you'll be wearing when you train with Mr. Mustard, a real go-getter who wants to be in the show. Add to the list of British references I got there, because of the region. And it's actually based on the real-life Isle of Man, which definitely further commits to the world building they've enacted, and I'll definitely be addressing this further as it goes, but to me, the idea that this was born of cynical laziness is absurd. I mean, seeing how much has already been improved already with some of these more minor free updates, I mean, and this was indeed the intended plan, my understanding, and there was not any screwing around with the development and cycle. I mean, these games aren't published by Bethesda after all. Anyway, I'm definitely glad that I opted into these already. I'm looking forward to playing with them. I'll be liking all the details, like the whole, like, between Aaron Claire and Avery, like the Spinnerack on Clara's shirt, as well as has the tie-dye on Avery's uniform. Like how each one reflects personality and coding some way, and it's simple because I think the gameplay of it all is what appeals to me the most. It's more than just the sum of its parts or the monsters in its bestiary, so to speak. I mean, and while some people are bringing valid points, admittedly, I usually don't buy high into it wholesale because if I have to remove the extremism from the equation, I just don't feel that bringing back every single feature is necessary to have a good gameplay experience. I mean, it's because there are other ways of shaking up the gameplay besides having every single monster you want. I mean, which I feel is kind of at odds with the previous mentality is like, oh, I have a bunch of monsters, but I'll put them in the box instead. So, which kind of sending mixed signals there, fellas. I mean, but anyway, I have another video that I was intending for this past Friday. It's going to be a response to one of my associates. And it's off my different take. So, just had to wait and see what it is then. Even though I did not care for it, it definitely inspired me to try and do something of my own like that. So, that's all I gotta say for now. Later.